today we are on the Detroit Lions. The big story around Detroit is the two new coordinators. Ben Johnson is now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Aaron Glenn, same thing with the New York Jets. So in steps John Morton as OC, who was on the staff in Detroit in 2022, Ariel, to guide the offense. So he does have familiarity with his quarterback, Jared Goff, and a lot of these skill position personnel. What is your view, especially offensively, of the Lions heading into this year?
The Lions are absolutely a Super Bowl contender, 11-1 on DraftKings, which I think is a very nice price for a proven team with a chip on their shoulder who lost a bit too early last year in the playoffs. They ran the most efficient offense in 2024, Stormy, and they ran the ball the third most on average, ranked 9th in yards per rush. That backfield returns. Their defense, it gets better. Aiden Hutchinson was gone, and that's why you didn't really see a lot of sacks. He only played 5 games last year. Hutchinson should be back. That run D still limited opponents to the 5th least rushing yards per game. The Achilles heel to the Lions for years, probably like a decade, has been the secondary, and that's gotten better. The secondary, you've got Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, who may be the best safety tandem in the NFL. You've got a veteran cornerback that just came in DJ Reed. He's going to play opposite of Terrion Arnold. That's a 2024 first-round pick. The secondary, as long as that's improved and they stop giving up the big play, which they were bottom 10 last year in big plays allowed, that's where the difference is made, is the Lions secondary not allowing the big play. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm not worried about the front seven. I'm just worried about that secondary giving up big plays, especially down the stretch of a game.
Yeah, and at least good news, too, for the Lions, in addition to the secondary having some improvements, is that they do get their star in Aiden Hutchinson back healthy. He actually said on the broadcast yesterday, and here I'll pull it up. He said yesterday on the Hall of Fame game that he's fully healthy, quote, "I just hope once I start playing, people will stop asking me and stop thinking about the injury. I moved on, and I can't wait for people to see me on TV playing football so they can move on as well." He feels great. He's ready to go.
Now that makes me not want to bring up his injury anymore. Now I feel bad.
Can't do it. And he is a co-favorite with Dak Prescott for comeback player of the year this year, plus 275. Also, Alex Anzalone retooled his deal this week, so he's happy. And you just imagine some people trying to get healthier on that side of the ball. To go back to the offense real quickly, because I know you said that's not a concern for you. There are some areas that are not a concern, and there are some areas that are. You look at Jared Goff last year, ranked 2nd in the NFL in pass yards, 4,629. Also led the NFL in completion percentage for throws beyond the sticks. He can sling it. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, 77% catch rate when he was 15 yards or more downfield. That, to me, is not a Ben Johnson stat. That is not just a way an offense works stat. That is a connectivity between quarterback and receiver stat. Plus, you have, obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, like all of these skill position talent around. Sam Laporta, who we talked to Russell Brown yesterday, who said that he thinks he's going to have just an unbelievable season again. But I am concerned about some things on the offensive line a little bit, which is unique because we know how good this offensive line has been recently. Frank Ragnow retiring. Tate Ratledge, former guard, playing center for the first time now at the highest level, and also at left guard with Kevin Zeitler gone to Tennessee. In steps Christian Mahogany, who, yes, I have seen him ranked as one of the NFL's top offensive line breakout candidates for this year, but a guy who also only has 1 start under his belt. So some inexperience in that offensive line is something that, at least to an extent, worries me a bit early on in the season, what this is going to look like.
Yeah, and you're going to have to rely on Tate Ratledge, who's a rookie coming in, and you have to see, as a second-round pick, if he could adjust to the league that quickly. But the Lions still have a pair of Pro Bowl tackles on the outside. So as long as they can try with the talent on offense, first of all, at least hopefully they can at least set up the run game well for their 2 running backs. But I just like that this offense is so multidimensional that if they were an offense, the Lions, that was one-dimensional, I would be worried about the offensive line. Since they can throw you a bunch of looks, and they have 2 different style running backs, they have great wide receivers, I think that will allow enough time for the Lions. Now, their issue is going to be their schedule, because last year, Stormy, their schedule ranked 12th hardest, and this year the Lions' schedule ranks, I'm trying to remember what it was, I think it's 3rd hardest. It's definitely top 3 of the hardest schedules in the league. Yeah. And they get the Packers, the Bears, the Ravens to start. I mean, the Bears, they should win, But going to Green Bay to start your season and then Monday Night Football in Baltimore, that's very worrisome just because the Lions, like, you don't want to get off to a 1-2 start. But the Ravens got off to a 0-3 start last year, and they ended up having a great season, minus Heartbreak City in the divisional round. But, like, I think they're going to be battle tested early, and they'll know what they have. And that offensive line, it's going to be a learning experience for sure in those first 3 weeks. But it's only going to make them better, at least is the way I would have to look at it.
Yeah, and you were correct with that initial thought, by the way, on the Lions' strength of schedule. It is the third most difficult in the National Football League this year, and that's a trend that you see in the division. All of those teams have very challenging schedules this year.
That schedule is brutal.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so in the NFC North, plus 155 favorites there, but an interesting division, I think, on paper. For the Super Bowl, 11-1, NFC odds 5-1, their win total at 10.5, and you are getting plus money on the over because of that schedule difficulty. We're talking about plus 115. Any bets there, just big picture on the Lions that you think could be worth a look?
That 11-1 to win the Super Bowl. If you could get them to the Super Bowl, a team, again, chip on their shoulder, there's no value there for them to win. Now, the only way I would bet the Lions to win the division is if they do struggle in those first 3 games. Let's say they start out 1-2. You should be able to get better odds on the Lions to win the division. So I think it's a silly bet with that schedule to be betting the Lions to win the division. 11-1 to win the Super Bowl gives you a really nice payout to sit on. They definitely can beat the Eagles. They can beat the Commanders. They can beat the Niners, the Packers. I mean, that NFC is wide open. Of course, the Eagles are your favorites to win the NFC. The Lions are a proven team that I think got better and are more well-rounded. And as long as that secondary is as good as it looks as it should be on paper, they should be good enough to compete. Now, you don't have to win your division. You at least just have to make the playoffs. And then it's anybody's game to winning a Super Bowl. And at that point, that inexperienced offensive line hopefully has some experience.
Yeah, I think to your point, you've got to be looking deeper. You have to Super Bowl or to be the ones. No, not even to be the 1 seed, because I'd say, like, you want to stay away from the win totals. You want to stay away from the division because it's about, like, once you get into the dance. And I think that for a lot of teams in college football too, especially with the expanded college football playoff to 12 teams, like, you want to find teams that you just think can have an opportunity to be there and then see where they go to take off and running.